I've recently started being more vocal about my struggles and just issues with social media. The thing is, it was something that I was always aware of, but I never actually said it out loud, because in my head, if you don't say it, then it's not real. It'll go away eventually. Logic. But yeah, that didn't work. That never works actually. With that, I've just kind of been searching the internet, asking myself, asking people close to me, like reading articles and just watching way too many YouTube videos also about ways that you can make your time on social media just more enjoyable and a whole lot less toxic if you're not looking to actually straight up quit social media altogether. Because I think that's where I'm at also. Like, I'm aware that I have a whole lot of issues with social media. I'm not ready to quit it. So I guess now I've started thinking and just like I said, researching ways to make it just more enjoyable, Yes, I'm just trying to slowly mend my relationship with social media, where it's not one that causes a shit ton of insecurity, anxiety, stress, dread, just negative feels like that. So here are 7 tips that can help you have a healthier relationship with social media if you're not actually ready to just straight up quit it, because it still has us by the throat. It has us in one way or another. Ow. Anyway, so the first thing you can do is to unfollow any accounts or people that make you feel insecure, or maybe you just don't like their content anymore, or whatever they're posting, or maybe somebody that just doesn't give a positive feel to your feed or something. You're allowed to do that. Like, I didn't even know that this existed, but apparently hate following is a whole thing. I read it from this article, but from what I got, hate following, it comes in different forms, and it can come in the form of following certain celebrities or public figures just so you can stay in the loop, or just keep up with their seemingly perfect lives. And all that this does is ultimately make you hate yourself or your life. Sometimes it's somebody you work with, or maybe one of your friends that you find yourself comparing yourself to, or something like that. Following these people just so you can stay up to date with what they're doing. As okay, their entire life is literally this perfect, and I'm here, and yeah, it's just this downward spiral. So don't do that. You don't deserve that. I guess the key is to pay attention to the kind of feelings you get whenever this person or account pops up on your feed. Like, are they insecurity, mild irritation, because it happens sometimes? Do you get angry? Do you feel envious? Do you get just downright sad? Whichever. If it's a negative emotion like that, then that's probably not the kind of content you need to be seeing on your timeline. Sometimes you can argue that it's for motivation, So for example, maybe your whole goal is to become fit, so you follow a whole lot of these influencer fitness coach people, influencer coaches, fitness coaches. Yeah, that, you know what I mean. You follow a whole lot of that, hoping that, seeing their nicely toned bodies and all of that will push you to get to your goal. But sometimes you just find yourself disliking your body and just wanting the results so quickly, and you don't even focus on the whole health aspect of it, because the whole reason is health. That is the whole reason, right? But once you start obsessing over all of these little things, it becomes about anything but that. It's about the aesthetics. I guess the question is, what good does that motivation do if it just makes you end up disliking yourself or your life even more than you did if you ever did when you started, and you're just making yourself feel so damn shitty all the time? You don't deserve that. Like, if unfollowing feels a bit too harsh for you, because like, we're all different as people, so like for some people, just like straight up unfollowing somebody even though it's not personal. It's not anything personal. It's just, the effect that the account has on your mental health. So if unfollowing is a bit too harsh, there's always the option to just mute the person's account. That's the first thing you can do. Second would be to only keep apps that you genuinely enjoy. Like, how many apps do you actually have on your phone that you just have just so you have more apps to scroll through when you're doing, that little social media loop, like where you'll start on, for example, you'll start on Facebook and then just check all your posts of the day, and then you go to Instagram and then you do that, and then you go that, and then you go to Pinterest, and then you go to this one, you go to YouTube, you go to this one, you go, it's just this loop. Like, are you doing it just because you just want to add more things so you can just waste more time on the internet and just not get anything done? Because that is me. That is actually me. Or is that app actually on your phone because it makes you smile or you get something cool from it? The thing is, you might have started out liking them, but now you end up being on them just because it kind of feels like a habit instead of something you just genuinely enjoy and are interested in. Just take some time, actually look at your apps and be like, okay, which of these apps do I actually want to keep? Which ones do I actually go on? Which one do I actually enjoy being on? And keep those ones. Your phone space will thank you. So a third solution would be just to try remember why you started that account in the first place. So for example, say you started your Pinterest account because you're just one of those people who you just like taking pictures in your spare time, or when you're out for a walk, or if you're running errands or something like that. Like, if you're just a person that likes taking pictures and you want somewhere where you can just post all of those pictures, edit them however you want, and just make it a thing. Maybe that was your reason for joining Pinterest. Maybe you decided to join Instagram maybe for the same reason, or just to have a place where you can just post all of your cute selfies in one place, because you're allowed to do that. Basically just try think back to why you actually started that account and let that drive you, instead of this whole desire to get more numbers, more this, more that. Just let that be the thing that's making you stay on the social media app. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of validation is great, especially from people you care about, but also from people that you might not even have known. It's really nice to see something that you work so hard on be appreciated and all of that. But I feel like we get too caught up in how many people are actually doing that, how many people are seeing my work. So just try and remember why you started in the first place. The next thing would be to turn off certain notifications. This works especially if you're one of those people that, for example, after you post something, you go back and just refresh and just go back to the actual post just to see how many people have liked, how many people have viewed it, how many people have done this, how many people have commented, because I think we're all guilty of that in one way or another. So if there's a platform where you find yourself obsessing over how many people like your post and how quickly they do it, then it'd be a good idea to just, as soon as you post it, just log out or just close the app with the notifications off, and then just do something else. Just take your mind off of it. The comments will still be there when you go back and check, I promise. The last one is following new interesting accounts. I know it seems kind of counterproductive, seeing as I think the first point I said to unfollow accounts that you just aren't feeling anymore. But the thing is, following new accounts, you can discover a whole range of new content that you feel like actually makes you feel good. It makes you laugh. It makes you think critically or something like that, So if there's a new account that you can find to follow like that, then at least while you're on whatever social media app you're going to be on, you're going to be seeing something that makes you feel good. And that's what we're aiming for. The next thing would be to find hobbies that don't involve you staring at a phone or laptop screen or tablet screen for hours and hours on end. I know that the internet and just phones in general, they give us so many ways to just have, you know, all of these digital hobbies and everything, and it's really cool. And a lot of the times it's just as fulfilling as one you do, you know, outside or something like that. But staring at a screen for so long, like just only looking at that screen, is probably gonna mess up your eyes also. You can create stuff, you can draw, you can paint, you know, you can have a heart-to-heart with somebody you love or somebody you care about. You can get a puzzle, those really big ones with 1,000,000,001 pieces, so it takes you longer. You can do something like that. You can play an instrument. You can take a walk. You can read a book or listen to one, depending. The whole point is to, you know, create a little bit of distance or time away from social media. You can read a magazine, a newspaper, you know, because you can say, I use my phone to keep up with whatever's going on in the world, but you can do that through a newspaper or a magazine. You really can, and you're probably going to get a nice crossword out of it too. I always do my mom when she gets magazines, they're fun. Anyway, yeah, you can do that. You can try cook a new dish. You can try plant something. If maybe you live in a place that doesn't have a garden, you can plant it in a pot plant. You can have like a little pot plant thing. That's cool. The next thing would be to set boundaries. This was also something I saw from the article. So in terms of boundaries, you can set a time boundary. So you can give yourself a certain amount of time that you're allowed to spend on social media as a whole, and then after that you just get off, you know. And I guess the hardest part is actually sticking to it, but if it's something you really want to do, then you'll find a way. There's apps that can even help you do all of these things. You can set a boundary in terms of space, so you can have a certain spot or certain area where you're not allowed to have your phone with you or be using your phone. Maybe that can be in the bedroom for you. And then you can have boundaries in terms of the content you see. For example, I know on Twitter you can create Twitter lists, and I've never actually used them, but from what I saw, you're able to just create lists of either the accounts you prefer to see or the type of content you prefer to come across, and that's the first thing you'll see when you go onto the app. And I feel like something like that helps a lot. Maybe you can mute certain words from popping up on your feed, because there's some words maybe that might trigger you. You never know. Another thing that you can actually do, this is something I actually got from a friend of mine. I don't know, like I'm never up to date with all the updates for all of these apps. She suggested making a close friends group on Instagram. So for example, if maybe you're a person who tends to feel very anxious when you post maybe a video of yourself or a picture of yourself, maybe you can just post it to those people whose opinion you genuinely value, you know, like people that you're comfortable with, people that even if I'm posting this on my face, they're used to this, they know me, like it's not something where I'm constantly worrying about how I'm being perceived or just anything like that. So yeah, I hope at least one of these tips works for any one of y'all. I'll see y'all next time, I guess. Bye. Hope you all take care.